Do you remember My Wife and Kids? It felt like a weekly family ritual, warm, familiar, and effortlessly funny. But behind those faces you thought you knew, real life was far more unforgiving. Sudden losses, career-ending setbacks, and the heavy cost of fame reshaped their lives in ways the screen never showed. Join us as we uncover their real names, where they are now, and honor the legacies they left behind. Damon Wayans as Michael Kyle Sr. Damon Wayans was born on September 4, 1960 in New York City, USA. At 41 years old, he played Michael Kyle Sr. The sharp-tongued, disciplined, but deeply devoted father in My Wife and Kids, 2001 to 2005. The role quietly shaped the identity of the series, grounding its humor in authority, timing, and emotional realism that made the family feel believable. That on-screen stability stood in contrast to his private life, where cracks were already forming. Wayans was married to Lisa Thorner, and their relationship collapsed in 2000, just as his career was regaining momentum after years of work that included Major Payne and Bulletproof. Career pressure, financial responsibilities, and incompatible lifestyles pulled them in opposite directions, leaving him to navigate single fatherhood while carrying the burden of being both the creative engine and public face of a hit show. As the marriage faded, his body began sending warnings he could no longer ignore. In 2014, Wayans revealed he had been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, a condition that forced him to rethink the pace he had maintained since In Living Color. The situation intensified when he underwent heart-related surgery in 2019, shortly after his demanding run on Lethal Weapon, turning health from a background concern into a defining priority. Today, Damon Wayans is 66 years old. He remains selectively active in television, focusing on collaborative projects with his family and maintaining a quieter professional rhythm centered on longevity rather than exposure. With an estimated net worth of around $35 million, his present life reflects a hard-earned balance between legacy, health, and the personal cost of success. Tisha Campbell as Janet J. Kyle. Tisha Campbell was born on October 13, 1968 in Oklahoma City, USA. At 33 years old, she played Janet J. Kyle, the emotionally grounded, intellectually sharp wife and mother in My Wife and Kids, 2001 to 2005. Her performance softened the show's sharp humor, giving it emotional weight and credibility that allowed the family dynamic to breathe. Away from the cameras, that balance was far harder to maintain. Campbell married actor Dwayne Martin in 1996, and over time their relationship became strained by financial instability and competing careers that had once thrived during her years on Martin and films like House Party. The marriage unraveled publicly and painfully, culminating in a prolonged divorce that pushed her into bankruptcy in 2016, stripping away the security she had spent decades building. As financial pressure mounted, her health deteriorated in parallel. In 2011, Campbell was diagnosed with sarcoidosis, a chronic inflammatory disease affecting her lungs that caused persistent fatigue and breathing difficulties, just as she was trying to rebuild momentum after projects like Rita Rocks. Combined with anxiety and depression during the collapse of her marriage, the illness forced her to slow down and reassess what survival truly meant. Now, Tisha Campbell is 58 years old. She continues working in television and film while dedicating time to health advocacy and autism awareness, reshaping her career around sustainability rather than speed. With an estimated net worth of about $700,000, her story stands as one of endurance, moving forward after divorce, illness, and financial loss without losing her sense of purpose. George O. Gore II as Michael Kyle Jr. George O. Gore II was born on December 15, 1982, in Fort Washington, Maryland, USA. At 18 years old, he played Michael Kyle Jr., the awkward, impulsive, emotionally reactive eldest son in My Wife and Kids, 2001 to 2005. The character injected youthful chaos into the family, giving the sitcom its generational tension and many of its most memorable coming-of-age moments. That sudden visibility complicated his private relationships as adulthood arrived early. Gore chose to keep his romantic life largely out of the public eye, yet he has acknowledged that an unforgiving work schedule made stability difficult. As opportunities from earlier successes like New York, Undercover collided with the expectations of fame, several relationships reportedly faded under distance, timing, and constant professional pressure. Transitioning from child actor to adult creative demanded reinvention, especially after years in front of the camera. Stepping behind it, directing an episode of My Wife and Kids and later co-writing Sneakerella, became a way to protect his mental balance and sustain a career without burning out. Today, George O. Gore II is 43 years old. He continues working selectively as an actor, writer, and director, prioritizing creative control over constant exposure. With an estimated net worth of around $2 million, his path reflects a quieter kind of survival, choosing longevity and authorship after growing up on television. Parker McKenna Posey as Katie Kyle Parker. McKenna Posey was born on August 18, 1995, in Los Angeles, California, USA. At 6 years old, she played Katie Kyle, the precocious, razor-sharp youngest child in My Wife and Kids, 2001 to 2005. Her timing and wit routinely upended adult authority on screen, becoming a surprising comedic engine for the series. Fame arrived before adult relationships had a chance to form. Posey has never married, and navigating dating under constant scrutiny proved difficult as she matured in the public eye. Motherhood later added another layer. Raising her daughter largely on her own while working in entertainment required sacrifices that reshaped her priorities and narrowed the margin for personal stability. The strain showed up less as physical illness and more as emotional weight. Years of early exposure, followed by a highly publicized incident involving a former partner in 2018, intensified anxiety and forced her to reclaim control over her life and image. Continuing roles in projects like Alice Upside Down and Games People Play marked a careful transition from child star to adult performer on her own terms. In 2026, Parker McKenna Posey is 31 years old. She remains active in acting while expanding into fashion and brand work, balancing creativity with motherhood. With an estimated net worth of about $1.5 million, her story is one of adjustment, learning to protect peace and purpose after growing up in front of millions. Jennifer Freeman as Claire Kyle. Jennifer Freeman was born on October 20, 1985 in Long Beach, California, USA. At 16 years old, she played Claire Kyle, the confident, outspoken teenage daughter in My Wife and Kids, 2001 to 2005. Her arrival in Season 2 shifted the tone of the show, adding sharper teenage conflict and emotional maturity that reshaped the family dynamic. That growing confidence on screen contrasted with a deeply unstable personal life off it. Freeman married NBA player Earl Watson in 2009, and the relationship unraveled quickly under emotional strain, financial pressure, and allegations of domestic violence. Even as her career expanded through projects like You Got Served and Johnson Family Vacation, the marriage collapsed into a painful divorce that left lasting emotional scars and periods of depression. The fallout did not manifest as a single illness, but as prolonged psychological exhaustion. Freeman later spoke openly about anxiety, self-worth struggles, and the toll of public judgment following her divorce. Writing her self-help book, Journey to Loving Yourself, became a form of recovery, allowing her to process trauma while slowly rebuilding stability alongside continued acting work on BET and BET Plus projects. Today, Jennifer Freeman is 41 years old. She remains active in television, films, and series, balancing acting with personal growth, advocacy, and motherhood. With an estimated net worth of around $500,000, her life reflects resilience, less defined by fame and more by survival after emotional collapse. Jazz Raycole as Claire Kyle. Jazz Raycole was born on February 11, 1988, in Stockton, California, USA. At 13 years old, she played Claire Kyle, the original, softer, more playful version of the eldest daughter in Season 1 of My Wife and Kids, 2001. Her portrayal helped establish the early family tone, even as the show was still finding its long-term identity. That early visibility came with difficult transitions. After being replaced in Season 2, Raycole stepped away from the sitcom spotlight and redirected her focus toward dance and dramatic acting, later appearing in series like Jericho and The Quad. Romantic relationships remained largely private, though she has acknowledged that early career instability made emotional consistency hard to maintain. Physical strain shaped her path more than public scandal. A serious dance-related injury in her late teens forced her to abandon a full-time professional dance career, redirecting her energy entirely into acting. The pivot required mental resilience, especially as she rebuilt momentum through guest roles and long-form drama rather than instant fame. Now, Jazz Raycole is 38 years old. She continues working steadily in television, including high-profile streaming projects, while maintaining a low-profile personal life. With an estimated net worth of about $3 million, her story reflects adaptation, learning to evolve after early loss rather than being defined by it. Noah Gray-Cabey as Franklin Aloysius Mumford. Noah Gray-Cabey was born on November 16, 1995 in Chicago, Illinois, USA. At 7 years old, he played Franklin Aloysius Mumford, the razor-sharp child prodigy in My Wife and Kids, 2002 to 2005. The character instantly stood out, using intellect instead of age to challenge adults and adding a distinct layer of wit that separated the show from typical family sitcoms. That brilliance, however, came with invisible weight. Outside the set, Gray-Cabey was already living an accelerated life, balancing acting with a demanding parallel career in classical music. Even as roles in projects like Lady in the Water and continued television work expanded his profile, the expectations placed on him as both actor and piano prodigy created sustained pressure that limited any sense of normal childhood rhythm. The strain surfaced less as illness and more as exhaustion. Performing piano internationally from the age of 4, including historic appearances at major concert halls, eventually led to burnout that forced him to slow down and recenter. Transitioning into more selective acting roles, such as Heroes and later Code Black, allowed him to protect his mental health while staying creatively engaged. By 2026, Noah Gray-Cabey is 31 years old. He continues to work steadily as an actor and musician, choosing projects that balance creativity with well-being. With an estimated net worth of around $2 million, his journey reflects controlled longevity, learning when to step back after growing up far too fast. Brooklyn Sudano as Vanessa Scott. Brooklyn Sudano was born on January 5, 1981 in Los Angeles, California, USA. At 22 years old, she played Vanessa Scott, Jr.'s grounded, emotionally steady partner in My Wife and Kids, 2003 to 2005. Her character matured the series, shifting it toward adulthood, commitment, and the consequences of growing up. That maturity was shaped by profound personal loss. Sudano is the daughter of music icon Donna Summer, and when her mother passed away in 2012, grief became a defining undercurrent in her life. Even as her career moved forward through work in film and television, including later success with Cruel Summer, the absence of her mother reshaped how she approached both art and family. Marriage offered stability amid that grief. Sudano married Mike McLaughlin in 2006, and together they built a private family life away from tabloid attention. While not marked by public scandal or illness, the emotional toll of losing a parent while raising a child quietly influenced her shift toward more reflective, behind-the-camera work. Today, Brooklyn Sudano is 45 years old. She remains active as an actress and director, notably honoring her mother through the documentary Love to Love You, Donna Summer, while maintaining a grounded family life. With an estimated net worth of around $3 million, her story is one of continuity, carrying legacy forward without being consumed by it. Meagan Good, as Vanessa Scott. Meagan Good was born on August 8, 1981, in Panorama City, California, USA. At 22 years old, she played Vanessa Scott, the confident, emotionally self-aware girlfriend in My Wife and Kids, 2003. Though her role was brief, it marked a visible transition point for the series, signaling Junior's shift from adolescence toward adult relationships. That transition mirrored turbulence in her personal life years later. Good married preacher and studio executive Devon Franklin in 2012, a union built publicly on faith, discipline, and restraint. Over time, conflicting expectations around career, identity, and personal freedom created emotional distance, and the marriage ended in divorce in 2022, a separation she later described as painful but necessary for self-preservation. The aftermath was less about scandal and more about psychological recalibration. Having entered the industry as a child under constant pressure, Good spent much of adulthood redefining boundaries while sustaining a demanding career that included Eve's Bayou and Think Like a Man. Love returned in a different form when she married actor Jonathan Majors in 2025, a relationship formed after years of emotional rebuilding rather than youthful ambition. Now, Meagan Good is 45 years old. She remains active as an actress and producer, choosing projects that reflect autonomy and growth rather than visibility alone. With an estimated net worth of around $5 million, her life now reflects control over career, love, and the pace at which she moves forward. Andrew McFarland as Tony Jeffers. Andrew McFarland was born on August 3, 1986, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, USA. At 15 years old, he played Tony Jeffers, the smooth, image-conscious teenage rival in My Wife and Kids, 2001. His character amplified the social pressures surrounding Junior, reinforcing the show's exploration of masculinity, status, and teenage insecurity. That early exposure came with quiet strain rather than public chaos. McFarland began modeling and acting at a young age, and the pressure to maintain appearance and relevance shaped his teenage years. As opportunities slowed after sitcom success, he navigated the familiar challenge faced by many young actors, remaining visible without being consumed by the industry. Unlike many peers, his struggles were internal rather than medical or marital. As acting roles became more sporadic after projects like Dance Flick, McFarland gradually stepped back from the spotlight, prioritizing stability over constant auditions and resisting the cycle of reinvention at all costs. By 2026, Andrew McFarland is 40 years old. He remains connected to entertainment through selective work, while maintaining a low-profile personal life away from media attention. With an estimated net worth of around $500,000, his story reflects quiet endurance, choosing peace over prolonged exposure after early fame. Lester Speight as Calvin Scott. Lester Speight was born on August 28, 1963, in Baltimore, Maryland, USA. At 40 years old, he played Calvin Scott, the intimidating old-school father of Vanessa Scott in My Wife and Kids, 2003. His presence added a physical, no-nonsense contrast to Damon Wayans' humor, instantly raising the stakes whenever Junior's relationship crossed family lines. That tough on-screen authority echoed a real life shaped by struggle. Growing up poor, Speight leaned on football as an escape, pushing his body and discipline to the limit in hopes of changing his circumstances. The collapse of early professional football opportunities forced him to pivot repeatedly, first into wrestling and then into acting, a pattern of reinvention that defined much of his adult life. Behind that physical dominance, Speight has openly spoken about living with ADHD, a condition that made school and focus difficult from an early age. Learning to channel that restless energy became essential to survival, later fueling the explosive intensity audiences recognized in roles like Terry Tate in the iconic Reebok commercials and the booming voice of Augustus Cole in Gears of War. Today, Lester Speight is 63 years old. He remains active in entertainment, balancing acting, voice work, and motivational speaking, while drawing income from a decades-long career that spans sports, advertising, and gaming. His estimated net worth of around $3 million reflects persistence rather than luck, a life built by refusing to stay down. Damon Wayans Jr. As John Damon Wayans Jr. was born on November 18, 1982, in Huntington, Vermont, USA. At 19 years old, he played John, Jr.'s fast-talking, street-smart friend in My Wife and Kids, 2001. Though a supporting role, his timing and energy sharpened the show's youthful dynamic and quietly previewed his future as a standout comedic force. That early confidence carried a hidden weight. Growing up inside the legendary Wayans family, expectations followed him everywhere, making failure feel public long before success felt earned. Instead of rebelling, he leaned into the pressure, refining his craft through writing and performing while carving space separate from his father's shadow. As adulthood arrived, stability came through work rather than drama. Roles in Happy Endings and New Girl solidified his reputation for sharp, modern comedy, while long-term commitment to Samara Saraiva, whom he married in 2016, grounded his personal life as they built a large blended family together. By 2026, Damon Wayans Jr. is 44 years old. He continues acting, producing, and occasionally sharing the screen with his father, choosing projects that balance family and longevity. With an estimated net worth of about $9 million, his story reflects a quieter victory, proving himself not as a legacy, but as his own name. Kelly Coffield Park. As Helen Tyler. Kelly Coffield Park was born on January 19, 1962, in Des Plaines, Illinois, USA. At 40 years old, she played Helen Tyler, the sharp-tongued, opinionated mother figure in My Wife and Kids, 2002. Her character injected controlled chaos and adult friction into the show, grounding its comedy in real-world parental tension. That confidence was forged long before television fame. After growing up in the Midwest with a strong pull toward the stage, Kelly built her career through comedy rather than glamour, a path that demanded resilience and constant reinvention. Marriage to fellow In Living Color alum Steve Park in 1999 brought stability, but balancing family life with an unpredictable industry required constant recalibration rather than comfort. Professionally, she thrived in ensemble pressure rather than leading roles, sharpening her timing through sketch comedy and character work. Appearances in projects like In Living Color and later Scary Movie kept her visible, even as mainstream attention shifted toward younger performers and louder personalities. Now, Kelly Coffield Park is 64 years old. She continues to work selectively in acting and comedy while prioritizing family and longevity over constant exposure. With an estimated net worth of around $1 million, her career reflects endurance, built steadily through craft, not spectacle. Liliana Mumy as Rachel. Liliana Mumy was born on April 16, 1994, in San Marcos, California, USA. At 8 years old, she played Rachel, the sweet, observant child character in My Wife and Kids, 2002. Though young, her presence softened the show's energy, adding emotional contrast to its fast-paced humor. Growing up as the daughter of actor Bill Mumy, her childhood unfolded inside recording booths and studios rather than playgrounds. Early immersion in voice acting brought opportunity but also discipline, shaping a work ethic that blurred the line between play and profession. As she matured, that foundation allowed her to transition smoothly into larger projects without public burnout. Her career expanded quietly but steadily through films like Cheaper by the Dozen and extensive voice work in animation, including Lilo and Stitch. Away from the microphone, adulthood brought emotional grounding when she married Ben H. Perlmutter in 2023, shortly before welcoming their first child, reshaping her priorities overnight. By 2026, Liliana Mumy is 32 years old. She remains active in voice acting while balancing motherhood and creative control, choosing projects that fit her life rather than define it. With an estimated net worth of about $2 million, her story reflects a rare outcome for child actors: growth without collapse, success without loss of self. Ella Joyce as Jasmine Scott. Ella Joyce was born on June 12, 1954, in Chicago, Illinois, USA. At 49 years old, she played Jasmine Scott, the poised, emotionally grounded mother of Vanessa Scott in My Wife and Kids, 2003. Her character brought maturity and quiet authority to the series, subtly balancing the show's humor with lived-in realism. That calm presence was earned the hard way. Raised in poverty and shaped by years of discipline in theater, Joyce carried those instincts into adulthood, where marriage to actor Dan Martin offered companionship but never insulation from struggle. As her screen visibility rose after Rock, maintaining personal stability alongside an unpredictable career required constant emotional restraint rather than public drama. Health battles never defined her story, but endurance did. Joyce poured her energy into craft, moving fluidly between stage and screen, with performances in Set It Off and award-winning theater work earning her a Jeff Award, recognition rooted in substance rather than spectacle. Each role reflected control, patience, and an understanding of hardship without needing to explain it aloud. Today, Ella Joyce is 72 years old. She remains active through selective acting, writing, and mentoring, choosing purpose over pace in the later chapters of her career. With an estimated net worth of around $1 million, her life stands as a testament to longevity, built not on noise, but on resilience and earned respect. 25 years later, the laughter still echoes, but the lives behind the characters have changed in ways few of us ever imagined. Fame, family, loss, and quiet resilience reshaped every face we once thought we knew so well. So after all this time, which cast member's journey surprised you the most, and whose story moved you in a way you didn't expect? If you enjoyed revisiting My Wife and Kids then and now, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more untold stories behind the shows that defined a generation.